Hi, it's Lipstick Gal. Thanks so much for watching today. I wanted to show you my customized Lisa Eldridge palettes. I have all 5 of the Lisa Eldridge eyeshadow palettes. If you're curious, I will leave the links to individual looks I did in the description bar down below with each one of these. But what I love so much is that Lisa gives you an opportunity to kind of rearrange and customize the palettes to your heart's content, because each one of these has these little holes in the back where you can use a pin. I use a safety pin somewhere around here. I've got a safety pin, and I pushed them out and I rearranged them. And I'll just tell you, oh, I fell in love with this one even more. Here's the palette I put together. There is a wide variety of shades in here, but the darkest one I have is this brown right here. This is a seamless matte called Fired Earth. This right here is Faded Amethyst. This is a metallic. This is Illusionism. This is a top coat. This one right here is Mercurial. It's a duochrome. This is Mauve Decade. It's a velvet matte. And this last one here is a luster. This is Taffeta Fan. I think that might be one of each different, and the thing is I wasn't trying to get one of each different like finish of each. I wanted the colors that made me happy. That's what I put in here. So I'm going to start by just grabbing a brush, and where I usually start for me is by building up kind of like a little bit going on in the crease. So I'm going to pick this one up here. This one is Mauve Decade, and this is what I did the other day. I had just finished kind of pulling out all of the eyeshadows that I was like, which are the ones out of all of these that I'm using the most? And I love Mauve Decade. This is just a stunning shadow and I love it so much. And a lot of times I will pair it with Faded Amethyst. It's a 2 shadow look. These are both from the Myth palette, and the Myth palette is kind of like that purple palette. And I find that the softer, more muted shades are the ones that I reach for all the time. Before I get any farther, I'm going to take Mauve Decade on a little buffing brush and put it on my lower lash line as well. I like wearing this by itself. I've worn this to work before on a day when I wanted a little bit of color but not too much, and I just kind of put it in the socket and then blend it. I love the way these blend. They're just beautiful. This is where I go in for this brown. This is from the Cinnabar palette. This is Fired Earth. This here is a seamless matte. So the difference between Mauve Decade, which is a velvet matte, and the seamless matte is that this one is less of that cream to powder formula, and it has just a little bit of pearl built into it, so it doesn't look completely flat matte. But I love the way that these blend so much. And I'm just building up a little bit of dimension and depth in the outer corner. I'm just taking a mostly clean brush, and I have been kind of buffing the edge here. I love the way that these blend out, and my goal is to have a really soft kind of like color to hardly anything all the way up to the eyebrow. I don't do that with so many other shades and so many other formulas, but I really feel like Lisa's mattes are fantastic for that. And I like the look of this a little bit more than where you can see it's not blended here. So I'm just going to take the time to kind of soften this edge. I'm going to grab the shade here in Faded Amethyst. This is a metallic shade, and I'm just going to pat this over the bulk of that dark brown I put in. I don't know that I want to go all the way to the corner, but I want it on a large-ish portion of my lid. Probably almost half the mobile lid. And now I'm going to pick up this shade here. This is Mercurial. This is a duochrome. I love this. And I'm going to tap this over that inner third, and just where it can kind of cross over a little bit with Faded Amethyst. I don't want it on the full lid, but just right here. The last 2 that I haven't used are this top coat and this luster. This is in Taffeta Fan. I'm going to pick up some of this on a little teeny tiny brush and kind of just put it right here in my inner corner. I've got a little bit of that top coat on this brush here, and I am just kind of tapping it over Taffeta Fan. So this one has kind of like a pink shift to it. I've definitely got kind of like a greeny purple shift to the duochrome, and I thought it was like, oh, too many colors, and the truth is I really liked it when I was playing the other day. I love these so much, and I'm not using this all over, just kind of right here in the inner corner, and then a little bit at the beginning of the lower lash line. I always love a little bit of sparkle on the lower lash line. I'm also going to grab a little bit of faded amethyst and kind of mix some of that in with Mauve Decade that I put down first. To finish this look, I'm going to throw on some eyeliner and mascara, and I'll be right back. If you're curious, I have the Inglot AMC Gel Liner on. This is shade number 90. It's the dark espresso brown. And I have the Flash False Lash Mascara from Beauty Pie on. And that's all. That's all. I have the liner in my upper waterline and across my, a little bit of a wing going on. But let me tell you, I really love the way this looks. Because when I swatched all of these together and I was like, I don't know. And the weird thing is, I've told you before, I'm not a purple eyeshadow kind of gal, and these are from the purple palette. Actually, these three here. Like half the palette I absolutely adore. And I'm not saying I don't adore the rest of it, but these are the ones that are in my comfort zone. And then I picked, I think these two here are from Cinnabar, like the Fired Earth and the Taffeta Fan. And this one is from the Sorcery palette. I did build a whole nother one. And this one I have only used once. Like, can't stop using this. This is like I'm happy every day. I've got sparkle everywhere. Life is fabulous. Let me start by swatching the one that I'm wearing for you. You can see what the eye look looks like, but let me swatch these guys for you. I've got all of these different finishes here. This one here is Illusionism, is a top coat. This is Faded Amethyst. This is a metallic. This is a seamless matte. This one's called Fired Earth. This one is a duochrome. This one's called Mercurial. This is a Velvet Matte, this is Mauve Decade, and this is the Luster. This is called Taffeta Fan. I feel like this is the hardest one to see because it has no color to the base, but it has a lot of pigment, and you can see it really well here in the inner corner. It's one of those that when light hits it, it really kind of comes to life. But I am so in love with these eyeshadows. I feel like it's all I've been wearing. And part of it is they're new, part of it is they're beautiful, part of it is I can rearrange them to my heart's content. This size of the palette is my ideal size. Anything more than this, I love a quad, I love 6 pans. The more pans you give me, the more like distracted I get. And I like that I get to choose which ones go in here. So I'm hoping one day Lisa's gonna start selling these little components by themselves so you can pick whatever shades make your heart happy and build your own. Here's another one that I was like, okay, what other shades am I using the most? And I had been pulling for these guys here. So I put this together as well. So here are the swatches for this. You know what's so funny about this is that this is exactly the Vega palette with the exception of this shade right here. This shade comes from the Sorcery palette, and this one is called Madrigal, but everything else is the Vega palette. And I think it's so funny because this is what I have been loving. And I was like, boy, these go so well together because they were made to. And the truth is 5 out of the 6 shades in here are the Vega palette. That kind of smoky, kind of darker. And I normally don't go for a black. I love this black because this is a black that's buildable. It's not like instant pigment. It's not like, boom, you got punched in the face. And with fair skin, that's always the problem I have. You know, sometimes blushes can be too strong. Sometimes eyeshadows can be too intense. Sometimes because I have fair skin and like right under here, my skin is really thin like everybody's under eye skin is, but it really brings out like the darkness. And so certain shades don't look good on me the way they would on somebody else. And black has always been one that I steer clear from. But I have been loving this black, and I'm not just using it for eyeliner. I'm actually using it like to deepen the outer corner. But my favorite thing about it is it's not an instant commitment. Like I can touch my brush in there. Let me just show you. I can touch my brush in here, pick up a little bit, you know, put it down. Where can I do this? And I have the opportunity to decide, you know what, that looks good. Maybe I want a little bit less, maybe I want a little bit more, but it blends, especially when my hand's not folded over weird, it blends beautifully. I don't have to have like a punch in the eye. I can have just a little bit, and if I want a little bit more, you know what? I want a little bit more. I can build it up to this, or I can have kind of like a light wash. That's my favorite thing about this. This kind of blackened, I don't know, almost chartreusey green gold shade. This one is so stunning, and I especially love it when I have it tapped over the black. Like, this is how I like to wear them, is one tapped over the other to kind of build like a deeper, darker version of this, because it's got some darkness and depth to it. But I have really been loving these palettes. I still feel like this one here that I'm wearing today is the one that I really still reach for the most, and these are the shades that I like the most. My favorite thing about these is that they blend with no effort. Truly, like very little effort. I like that it's not instant commitment where I touch my brush in the black and I touch it down and it's like, boop, well, there we go. You know, panda eyes today. I get to choose the level of intensity. They blend beautifully. They wear really well. The one thing I have discovered though is that these do not wear all day on me unless I'm wearing an eyeshadow primer. Now, most makeup artists will put an eyeshadow primer down first. I know that when I go on a bare lid with these, I get about 6.5 to 7 hours of wear before I start getting some creasing or fading. If I want to go from like 7 in the morning until like way after dinner, like 10 or 11 at night, and these will last all day for me if I have an eyeshadow primer down. So that's the one thing that I have discovered for myself. But these shades here make me super happy, as do these guys. I just love these eyeshadows. I think they're beautiful. Not only are they easy to use, the color stories are gorgeous and cohesive. They last well on the eye. They're just stunning. They're stunning. I love how easily all of the formulas blend, especially the mattes, those two different types of mattes, the seamless matte and the velvet matte. Oh, fantastic. But what I really, really like is that all of the shades that have sparkle to them, all of the shades that have any sort of reflectivity to them, do not bring additional texture to my eyelids. I'm gonna be 48 in about a month. And I see that the closer I get to 50, I still like what I like. I still like shiny eyeshadows. I still like a winged liner. I still like, you know, voluminous lashes. And I'm not gonna stop changing the way I wear makeup, maybe eventually, but right now I feel like what I'm looking for is I'm changing the formulas that I'm willing to purchase. I want something that's going to look elegant, that's going to look beautiful, that is not going to bring out the texture in my lids. And that's what I love about these. And it might be that, you know, Lisa's a little bit older than I am, and she's already been thinking about that for such a long time. And she does makeup on a wide variety of people of all ages and all genders. And I think she's seen it from a completely different perspective. Makeup is not just for the, you know, under 25 we see in magazines. Makeup's for everybody. And I love that the textures that she's created are so friendly to the over 40 eyelid. I really feel like Lisa has done something beautiful here. I know they're expensive. I don't want you to feel like you have to go out and buy all 5 palettes so you can mix and match and make your own perfect one. I know the singles are expensive when you buy them individually, but I really feel like if you like beautiful, luxurious, quality things, I think they're worth it. But I don't know that I would recommend that you need all of them. Find the one or the handful of ones that you really love and use those every single day. Just like her lipsticks, they're $36, they're expensive, you don't need all of them. Find the 1 or 2 that you could use daily, and every time you pull it out, it just makes you feel fabulous. It puts a smile on your face. If you love makeup the way I love makeup, beautiful makeup, there's something to it. I want you to work well. I want you to last great all day long. But the minute you do all of those and then you put it in like really sleek, gorgeous packaging like this, my heart is so happy. So don't buy all of them. Buy the ones that you're really gonna get the best use out of. And every time you open it up, every time you look at it, you're like, yeah, fabulous. I would love to know, did you pick up any of these eyeshadow palettes? Did you get any of the singles? Have you been kind of creating your own color stories? What color stories, if you have more than one of these, or you picked up the singles that kind of caught your eye, what colors are you putting together and how are you using these? I know that I'm never gonna recommend that you do what I did, which is buy all of them and then mix and match. I do it because I have this YouTube channel, but I don't want to encourage you to overspend. I want you to think about which one you get the best use out of. Which one is really going to suit your needs, or if there are certain finishes you really love, which palette has the most of those finishes in them, and think about it that way. But since I have all of them and I have been kind of playing with them, I really like knowing that I kind of created my own little happy place here. I really like that. But if you've done this, which ones are you putting in your palette together? Let me know in the comment section down below. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Have an incredible day. I'll see you again soon.